How I use my Mac. By a low vision user. Hi, I'm Bob. I'm going to show how I use my Apple iMac computer. My eyes are very poor. I have a condition called cone rod dystrophy, which is a type of macular degeneration. It's a progressive type of thing, so my vision has decreased over the years, probably becomes a little bit less every day. So I use the computer now with a program called Voiceover. It comes part of the Macintosh operating system and a number of other things to go along with it. Like I said, my computer is an iMac. It's 27-inch. It's the new model. It's the largest one they make. And I suggest that anyone with any kind of a vision problem get the largest monitor that they possibly can. Things don't get bigger. Things don't get better. And the monitor that's the right size today may not be large enough tomorrow or next year. I have a SciTech keyboard, which is kind of heavy. The keys have a contrast with the background and they have good feel, so I much prefer it over the Apple keyboard. My mouse is a Logitech Marathon mouse. I've used other mice, some I've liked better, most I haven't liked as much as this one. This seems to be the best one for me at the moment. It has a number of buttons that I can program. I program with Apple's shortcut keys using an application called Steer Mouse, S-T-E-E-R-M-O-U-S-E, Steer Mouse. I think Logitech software, Macintosh software, would probably program them just as well, but in the past I found that when the operating system was upgraded, Logitech didn't upgrade their software for a long period of time, and so my mouse didn't work exactly the way I wanted it to. This has a button on the side. It's hidden, you can't see it. I use this to turn Voiceover on and off. Voiceover is Apple's built-in speech reader that will read everything. You can control your whole computer with Voiceover. There's a button here that's forward and back, so I can go forward and back through applications or
forward accessibility features
like that.
Display.
Back.
System preferences.
Works fine in a browser, moving from page to page. Have the normal button on my left here that I leave as a normal, just regular clicking button. The one on the right I've reprogrammed so it zooms in, and my scroll wheel is programmed to also do that. So I can zoom in with that, or I can zoom out with that. There's a little button back here that also zooms out. Again, I program these with the shortcut keys, and I'm going to fine-tune this a little bit more. We have the button in the center, the scroll wheel. The scroll wheel works as normal, it goes up and down, but you can press down on it, and I've programmed that to turn on something called text-to-speech. So when I select something by highlighting it, I can press this button and it will read that text. So I kind of switch back and forth between voiceover reading and text-to-speech reading. In some cases, one works better than the other. Let's see, what else have we got here on our mouse? I think maybe that's about it. Again, this is a Logitech Marathon mouse. Batteries do last a long time too. Maybe not as long as they claim. Okay, let's take a look at some of this. If I were setting up my computer, the first thing I would do is go to
Voiceover off.
I'm going to turn that off. I would go to my system preferences, which is real easy to find, and come down to this little button here. Let's see, what's that called? I'm going to press my
Voiceover on. System preferences. System preferences. Accessibility.
I press the button on my mouse to turn VoiceOver on, so it tells me that's the accessibility preference. So I'm going to click onto that.
Accessibility features.
Here
Display.
we are.
Display.
Okay, I'm going to turn the VoiceOver off now.
Voiceover off.
And that's with that hidden button on the side of the mouse. When you look at this, it's divided up into sections. At the top here we have things useful for people that have difficulty seeing. And then we have a section for people that have a difficulty in hearing. And, oops, let's see, let's bring my mouse over on top of there. And then there's a number of other things you can do here. You can set up your keyboard, your mouse, even a braille display. I mean, there's all kinds of settings here. And within each of these settings, there are other settings. So I would start out just kind of in order here with a person with vision problems. Start with the display setting. And when I come over here, I have a cursor setting. And I can slide this back and forth, which will increase or decrease the size of my cursor. If it gets too big, I have a hard time clicking on something I want to click on too. It just covers too large of an area. But if I get it too small, I just can't see it at all. Like I said, my eyes are pretty poor. I can't read a headline on a newspaper. I listen to the newspaper using VoiceOver and my text-to-speech program. Okay, I'm going to press my back button here. Just to demonstrate it again, I can switch back and forth here. Here's my forward button again. Okay, the next thing I would do is come down to Zoom. And there's a number of options for Zoom. It tells me what my shortcut keys are. Those are the keys I use to program my mouse. You can do it with the shortcut keys on the computer, but then I'm going back and forth from here to there, and I'm zooming and doing this. It's just a whole lot easier to use this Logitech mouse. So I get that set up the way I want, which is real easy. And then here's VoiceOver. So VoiceOver looks real simple here. There's actually a lot of options in here, and you can set it up so where you can control almost all of the computer with the keyboard or with the mouse. Moving back and forth, it'll tell you where you're at, what you're doing. It'll read things, it'll find columns, it'll do so much. There's one of those spam calls. So we'll hang that thing up. Let's see, where was I on VoiceOver here? If you turn on a lot of features, it gets real wordy. And I don't need all those words spoken to me. So you can go in there and turn off a lot of different sections. You can also select different voices for, say, reading text or for alerts. Again, there's many options there. So VoiceOver itself for reading text works a lot like it does on a iPhone or an iPad, but it has a lot more flexibility to it. Many more options. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Let's go to the Mail program. So Mail's already operating. I'm just going to click on that and it will be there. And just to kind of a demonstration of what we might do here, I'm trying to find where things are and I can't see well enough to read any of these. So I'm going to first turn on my text-to-speech.
From Hannah or Allen, subject empty and Apple products.
I'll be darned.
Hi Bob. Thanks for your demonstration on the empty list of your iMac. I had already come to the conclusion that I probably would do best with an iMac. You helped me greatly with the final decision. The only thing I have to decide now is if... From Brian Sun, subject ACTCOS, :1307, Tuesday Memorial Tour. https:// From International Bicycle Tours.
So I'm just moving down with my mouse. I can see that. I could do that with the keyboard too.
International Bicycle Tours.
And then I'm just touching my scroll wheel there to turn the message on, press it again to turn it off. Now I'm going to do kind of the same thing but using VoiceOver. So again, pressing the button on the side of my mouse.
Kaiser Permanente. Amazon 2 at copyco.ca left bracket view dash nav on right bracket. Hannibal Allen. Down 2002 FD.
So I'm not having to press anything now. I'm just moving down the line.
Left bracket view dash nav on right bracket. RayOnInat.ix.netcom.com. RayOnInat.ix.netcom.com.
And if I see something I want, of course, I just double click on it, and there it is.
Hi Bob, the view has floor plan J. There is a 42x7 Fortinet left parent convertible to bed right parent and refrigerator/freezer in the slide dash out left parent driver side right parent.
VoiceOver off.
Okay, I turned VoiceOver off there. Now if I wanted to listen to that on text-to-speech, I would highlight that area and then press my scroll wheel.
There is a 42x74 Fortinet convertible to bed and refrigerator freezer in the slide out driver side.
Okay, I press the button again to turn that off. That's kind of the way this all works. You know, I will probably be turning on more VoiceOver options as my eyes get worse. And I'm using more now than I used you know, a couple of years ago or even 1 year ago. Let's see, as far as computers, Macs go, there are 4 different models that they have out in different sizes and configurations. The smallest one is called the Mac Mini, which is, oh, it's about the size of this hard drive, not much larger than that. It doesn't come with a keyboard or a mouse that you can furnish, either buy new or use something you already might have. And it doesn't have a monitor. So you need to add a monitor to that. Could be an existing monitor. Again, the larger the monitor, I think, the better the monitor. The next computer that I'll mention is a laptop. Apple has a lot of really nice laptops. My wife uses one with a large computer that I'll show you here in a moment. I guess next in the line here would be the iMac. I think they have a 23-inch model. This is a 27. Bigger the better. And then they have a, let's see, I guess it's called the Mac Pro, which is a very expensive, very powerful machine, far beyond what most people need. My old computer was a Mac Pro. It's 7 years old, works fine, works as good as it did when it was new, but I do a lot of photography and movie making. A lot of people don't know how I can do that, but this helps. So I keep my screen at a high resolution, which means that things are pretty small on here, and I'm zooming in and out all the time. It would probably drive anybody crazy that wasn't working in my mind as I'm doing it. Except this is a 27-inch monitor, which is a widescreen monitor. That's the way that most of them are made nowadays. I'm going to swing this camera that I have over to my old setup. So let's see, I'm walking around behind here. There we are. Okay, that's my old Mac Pro over here on the left. It's a pretty big monster. Love this machine. Like I say, it still works fine. And I used it with this 28-inch monitor. This is called an Apple TV. It's not made by Apple, and I don't know how they get away with using the name Apple TV, but it's a good monitor. It's also a television, but I've never used it that way. This 28-inch monitor is a wide screen, but not as wide as my iMac over there. So that means that it's about the same size. 27, 28 sounds like nothing, but the 28-inch monitor is about an inch taller. The screen itself is about a 28, about 1 inch higher. So I find that easier if I'm reading the newspaper or articles. Right now it's displaying what I have on the iMac. I have it plugged into there. And I'm not utilizing the very top or the bottom here at the moment. Okay, let's swing back to the iMac again. Here we are. I'll walk back around here. So, size and shape of the monitor, like I said, bigger is better. If my eyes were really good, I could read probably 2 pages at a time on this screen. I don't do that. I do, again, a lot of photography. Most of my movie making is in a 16:9 ratio, which matches the screen here. And most of my other photography is in a more of a 3:4 ratio. So I actually get a bigger picture over there because I got more space at the top and the bottom. That's about it. Some questions I was asked before. One was about the window behind me here. Normally I have those blinds closed pretty tight. Also the blinds to my left. Right now I have them kind of open, directing light down below here so that the keyboard will probably show up better on the to the camera than it would if the room were dark. And it helps to light up this Marathon mouse, which is a very dark color. So again, usually I would close those off. I also have all the lights in the room on, and usually I'll leave one of those on in the evening, turn them off in the daytime. Another little gadget that I have here is called the Shuttle Pro. It has a number of buttons on here that can be programmed just like the buttons on my mouse. It has its own application for programming them, and I use this in photography when I'm working with Photoshop, or when I'm working with one of several different movie video programs. It saves me a lot of hitting hotkeys on here where I have to maybe press 2 or 3 keys at the same time and then get back to the mouse. Well, it's a lot easier. I can just click, 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 forward and back, forward, how it looks, how it looked, how it looks, how it looked, how it looks, how it looks. Very fast. Sort of compensates for the slowness that I have. Both the iPad and the Mac have similar dictate programs. So you can speak to the computer and do your email. My wife uses an Apple TV with her laptop, the same as I use with my older computer. If a person buys a new Mac computer, I always recommend buying it at the Apple Store and purchasing the optional one-to-one service. That lets the new user go into the Apple Store, sit down with an Apple trainer, and receive an hour, up to an hour, of training on whatever they need help with. Any Apple product, Apple software. They're really experts at explaining and making things easy to a user. I went to one earlier this week myself, and I've been using Apples now for a long time. There's also a personal projects part of the program where you can sit down at a table with maybe up to 6 people, other users, and you can work on your own project or your own thing for 3 hours, And there's a trainer there who kind of rotates around answering questions, helping people with whatever they're trying to do. The reason I bought the new computer is because it's so much faster on working with movies. Encoding a movie or video can be very, very time consuming. I mean, hours, do it overnight, got to be a real drag. Also, the technology in the new computer lets me transfer files, large files, back and forth between hard drives and other sources much faster. If anybody's interested in my photography, my name on the web is panoramabob.com, and you're welcome to take a look. I hope that this video has been of help to you, and that you'll have a lot of fun with your computer. Okay, bye now.